Hey, mathletes. What we're going to look at in this video is we're going to continue looking at rates. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use what we learned in the last lesson about rates, and we're going to do a deeper dive into some more problems with them and some applications, things that we can kind of relate to in our everyday life. So it's really important that you go back if you don't remember and look at what a rate was and what a unit rate was from the last lesson. All right, let's try one of these. So Esther was training for an upcoming race and she bought a pedometer to track her jogging speed. She finds out that her pedometer only displays in meters per second, and her coach has been tracking her in kilometers per hour. Her top speed with her coach had been 6 kilometers per hour, and her top speed with her pedometer is 2 meters per second. And she's confused. She doesn't know if she's doing better, worse, or the same. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, okay, let's convert the 6 kilometers per hour into meters per second. So how I'm going to do that is first I'm going to convert kilometers into meters. And how I like to do this is by doing a unit analysis. So what I say is what I know is 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Now, how do I know which goes where? What goes on top? What goes on bottom? Well, I want those units to cancel out. So I'm going to put the kilometers on the bottom. Then I go 6 times 1,000, 6,000 meters. Okay, what about hours? Well, I got to turn hours into seconds to match her pedometer. So 1 hour, well, first I'm going to convert that to minute. So 1 hour, well, I know there's 60 minutes per 1 hour, and then I want to convert that to seconds. So I know in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. Okay, did I do my analysis correct? Well, minutes and minutes cancel out. Hours and hours cancel out. So what are we left with? 3,600 seconds. So now let's analyze what 6 kilometers an hour was. Well, 6 kilometers an hour is really 6,000 meters per 3,600 seconds. And if we put that into our calculator, the heck do we get if we put that into our calculator? We get 1.7 meters per second. So the good news is she has sped up. Now, we could have converted the meters per second into kilometers per hour, but doesn't matter. We'll get the same result. She's faster now with her pedometer. Okay, that reminds me of when I drive down to the States and all of a sudden I have to switch from kilometers to miles, right? Oh, speaking of that, John lives in Vancouver and he frequently drives down to Seattle. And if you've ever bought gas in the States, all of a sudden you got to figure out a couple things because we're used to paying in Canadian dollars per liters. And when you get down to the States, you've got to convert two things. You've got to convert monetary units and you've got to convert from gallons to liters. Okay, so where does John get the best price? Okay, first thing we got to do is let's convert this US dollars. Now, right now at the current moment, 1 US dollar is equal to, if you look it up online at this exact moment, it's $1.33 Canadian. Okay, so let's convert the US dollars, friends. So if I want to figure out what this is into Canadian, I'm going to say 292 US dollars. And again, I set up my unit rate and I want to get rid of my US dollars. And I just said 1 US dollar is $1.33 and a little bit more Canadian. Again, the units I don't want cancel out. And so what I find out is 292 times $1.33 and a little bit more is roughly 391 Canadian. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to say to myself, well, I got to convert gallons. Okay, so how do I convert a gallon? Well, 1 gallon, I always remember, is roughly 4 liters. But to be precise, 1 gallon is 3.78541 liters. Okay, and there's no reason for you to memorize those things. You'll always be provided those in the question, right? Okay, so what have we got here? We've got, let's figure out a gallon to liters. Well, we really just did it. 1 gallon is 3.78541 0.78541 liters. So there's that. Okay, so now let's figure out, what does John pay in Canadian? What is he getting? What's his rate? Okay, so what we just figured out then, or what we are about to figure out, is that $2.92 per US dollar per 1 gallon is the same as $3.91 Canadian per 3.78541 liters, which, when we calculate that, is roughly $1.03 per liter. Okay, where's he getting the better price? Well, in Canada, he's paying $1.13 a liter. So guess what? John's saving a little bit of money when he goes to Seattle. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Okay, so again, converting that time monetary units. Okay, one last one here. Okay, Sarah's walking 6 kilometers. When she walks at this rate for 2 hours, she burns 450 calories. Jim walks 4 kilometers an hour, burning 60 calories in 30 minutes. So if Sarah walks for 3 hours, how much longer will Jim have to walk in order to burn the same amount of calories? Okay, well, first off, let's figure out our unit rate here. So for Sarah, well, her unit rate, how many calories is she burning per hour? Well, she burns 450 calories per 2 hours. So her unit rate is 225 calories per hour. What about John? Well, John, dear old John, is burning 60 calories in 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes is 0.5 of an hour. So John, unfortunately for John, he's not burning as many calories per hour. And that's because he's simply just walking slower, right? Sarah's going at 6 kilometers an hour. So unless he's going to pick up the pace, that's what he's going to burn, right? Okay, so now I want to say to myself, well, how much longer is he going to have, Jim, I keep calling him John, sorry, just noticed that. I like John, let's stick with John. How much longer is John going to have to walk if he wants to burn the same amount? Okay, well, what are we going to do here? Let's think about that for a second. What are we going to do here? Well, if Sarah's going to walk for 3 hours, how many calories is she going to burn? Well, for walking for 3 hours, she's going to burn 675 calories. So what we've got to say here is John/Jim wants to burn 675 calories, right? And this is what he's burning per hour, 120 calories per hour. Well, all we're going to do then is we're going to say 675 calories, and in 1 hour, he burns 120 calories. So 675 divided by 120. And when you do that, you're going to get 5.625 hours. Okay, so Jim John here is going to have to walk for almost twice as long as Sarah. Okay, so again, there it is, some more unit rates and just doing some analysis. I hope that helped.